how do we focus on what actually matters when it comes to our health, our fitness, and our well-being, and
Hmm.
block out all of the noise, all the intricacies? Which of the intricacies are actually maybe important, if any? We'll
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah. And also what intricacies in your life are blocking you from moving forward, or stories that are going on.
Hmm.
So there's intricacies of like, oh, I just want to really make sure my chest gets bigger. And then there's intricacies of like, oh, should I eat, vegan or keto or and then there's I don't have time, my life is too busy, I've got the kids and my job and my wife and my dog.
Mm. And that should probably be the starting point. Is the big issue with trying to make things more complex, I guess, is what this is. The first major hurdle is that it stops you from doing anything to begin with. I think
Yeah, man.
that's the most important thing.
Take that as, and I think it's quite interesting to maybe take that point and swerve it down like a business. When you started Vibrant People, hey,
Hmm.
let's go there. So you had an idea.
Hmm.
What was the idea?
The idea for me was that I felt I had a lot of experience in living a healthy lifestyle, but doing it in a way that was like very balanced, very flexible,
Mm-hmm.
and could stay steadfast
Yeah,
with all the distractions of like family and running a
because you
business and
had
everything.
Axel at that point. You had one kid at that when you started.
No, Morgan. I was doing it casually before,
Yeah,
and then when it really kicked off was like when Morgan got pregnant, and then we had Axel, and
right.
everything changed. So
So you launched a business when you were having kids.
yeah.
Right.
So what
Amazing.
what I did was,
Yes. Tell me.
when Morgan was pregnant, I knew there was a point, and she was about 3 months pregnant, and I knew that in 6 months' time, like, we would have a baby. So I just thought it would be a funny self experiment to basically go, I'm going to train with my body weight 100%, which I was actually mainly doing yoga then.
Mm.
I've done a lot of calisthenics previously, but I was in kind of more of a yoga phase.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I'm going to do 30 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week of
Mm-hmm.
purely bodyweight training.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and put on like 5 kilos of muscle, basically. And I'm going to document it on Instagram.
Cool.
And that's basically how I started
Cool.
the
All
Bodyweight
right.
Dude Instagram.
So they right, beautiful. So that's, and then this goals thing, and so you weren't going, and I'm going to start an online coaching and wellness business. It was like, let's see what I could do with myself. Oh, and then at some point, I imagine you were like, oh, getting some traction. You had
Yeah.
that video that went viral, right?
Yeah, I had a few that went viral on Facebook, and then just coincidentally, I saw an old friend who was doing some coaching, and he was like absolutely smashing it. And I knew that before he was like struggling as a PT in a gym, and then suddenly he'd elevated to this like crazy thing,
Mm.
crazy success. So like I
You
dropped
saw
him.
like a future in
Yeah,
business for
I
it.
was like, man. Well, I was feeling a bit unfulfilled with the businesses that I was running before.
Yeah.
I didn't feel happy with what I was doing. It wasn't really giving me the financial rewards that I wanted. And I didn't really know where to turn. And then suddenly that was like a light bulb moment of, I've been doing this thing for 20 years on as like my main passion.
Hmm.
I never even considered it as a potential career option. And that was just a light bulb moment of going, oh, it was staring at you
Yeah.
in the face the
Doing it
whole
anyway.
time. And from there, I did that Instagram, and then got a bit of traction. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't like I had like hundreds of thousands of followers. It was like a few thousand. And then I just started putting some stuff out there. Managed to get like my first client. It ended up being more like life coaching, which I was like totally not prepared to do really at all at that point. I had done a coaching course that was like very sort of surface level, but I didn't think too much about it. I just kind of got stuck in
Hmm.
minimum viable product,
Yeah.
posting on Instagram,
Yeah.
learn on the go, and
Yeah.
just got in. And I think with the fitness thing, bringing it back to that, that's
Right. Beautiful.
what you need to do.
So
Don't.
there wasn't like, I'm going to go make £1 million and I'm going to have 19 employees and we're going to be running programs. It was like, I'm going to put a video out.
Basically,
Well,
yeah.
if you take it, I'm going to just do what I'm doing. Oh, now I'll film it.
Yeah.
Now I'll make it, put it on Instagram. Now I'll start talking to people.
Yeah.
Now I better put some idea of a program together, which I imagine was what, like a PDF or something.
Yeah. Well, that's another story. But
But I
I
guess the
wasn't
point,
thinking I need to have this perfect website.
yeah,
I need to have this perfect product.
right
I
on,
need to have the perfect Instagram, a team behind me. I was just thinking all I need to do right now to succeed is be able to someone to basically pay me to speak to them once a week
cool,
and help them get through their problems.
right. And then that happened, and the next thing, like, oh, I could actually take on three, and then suddenly, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, beautiful. That thank you, man. Thank you, and it's really great to hear that story because that is what the same principles apply to fitness. And so all of our clients are pretty successful performing people, whatever, if they're in law or finance or whatever they're doing there, they know how to do that.
Hmm.
It's the same thing with this. They didn't, all these successful people we know didn't start a, multinational social media agency on day one, right? They had a Facebook page or something.
Hmm.
So it's applying those same principles. Like, how do I get there where I want to be?
Mm.
Go for a walk.
Question for you.
Mm.
Throwing the questions out.
Yeah,
I
no,
like
okay.
this.
This is a good way. Let's do it.
Where can you think back to a moment in your life where you started to overcomplicate your health, fitness, well-being, like routine or approach?
Hmm.
And if so, like what was the consequence of that? Like positive or negative?
Yeah, man. Okay. Hey, that's a great question. I think there was a time when I was probably approaching, like, I was probably in my mid 30s, and I was like, "Ooh, I can see my body not being just like all the time and strong." And I was like, "Oh, things, ooh." But I was living in Sri Lanka. I was surfing. I had joined like it's basically a CrossFit, but not called CrossFit. And then I was also running. So I was doing like all those things, like pretty high intensity things,
Hmm.
right? But that's kind of what I had to do. And I was like exhausting myself because I wanted to surf early before it was too hot in Sri Lanka. And there was a class, the fitness class was like just after lunch. And then I wanted to run before it got dark.
Hmm.
And it was like, oh God, fuck, shit. Oh, but wait, if I don't get my surfing, I'm not gonna get the thing and I'm never gonna look after. And I just ended up, and then I quit all of it. Basically, would go for a surf sometimes and just stop,
Hmm.
and just was eating shitty and be like, oh, I'm not putting on weight, I'm all right, because I just got overwhelmed with all the things I thought I needed to do to be this man I thought I needed to
Yeah.
be.
So it
Probably
was,
based on someone I saw on Instagram or a famous person, right?
yeah,
Like some celebrity surfer who's like, yeah, I'm in the gym twice a day and I'm surfing barrels at Hawaii. And I'm like, "Yeah, of course you are, bro.
yeah. And you have to do it all. So yours was more overcomplication or noise through like volume
Yeah.
and versus actually the intricacies of the moment
Yeah,
of like
man.
how to do it or what to do.
I think I'm really lucky that, or blessed, or whatever I want to say. Of like, I I'm pretty good at listening to my body and going, I don't, I know how to do a thing. If I want to do something, I'm just going to do it.
Hmm.
I want to start jujitsu. I just went to a jujitsu gym and was like, hello. Got beaten up for a year, and then, you know, I, I don't. I've got the mindset of like I can just quit coffee. I did quit coffee from out and back on it now. Hey, but I can just do it. There's a bigger questions like how did I get there? I don't know. That's like nurture. How was I
Hmm.
brought up? Who was I around? And there's a piece we can talk about as we go through this journey of like how you make these good decisions, how you take those first steps. Who's around you, man? Who is who's your team? Who's rooting for you? Who are you checking in with? Who's going, oh, did you work out this morning? Like, I'm pretty sure, man, if I kept seeing you every day and I was like, no, no, by day three, you'd be like, you haven't, and I'd be like, fuck, honestly, joke about it. And that accountability piece, right?
Yeah.
And if we're around people, and I know some people in the program who are like, oh, my partner isn't, oh, she's annoyed. I get up early to the thing, and I'm not looking, or whatever it is, or the guys at work are laughing because I've cut out all the sauce on my barbecue. That's gonna be hard, right? Who's in your team
Mm.
to help you take the step?
That's when you were saying about all the stuff that you were doing at that time.
Mm,
I feel that I was in that was my overcomplication as well, which
uh-huh.
was doing 90 minutes of Ashtanga yoga every morning, then like 2 or 3 hours in the park doing calisthenics, and then like walking like a lot in the day. So it's a lot of stuff. And I think the word that came to mind when you said that, and I felt the same, is that if your system is too intricate or too voluminous, then it's very fragile,
Mm,
especially for
yeah.
someone that's got a busy job, has a family, which that kind of, when you said the team thing, that's why that came up, is
Mm,
if you do have a team around you, even if they're supported, there's still people that are your you've got to respect them, and you're responsible for them in a certain way as well, whether
mm,
it's time, energy, presence, like whatever.
mm-hmm.
So if you are in that mindset of like, oh, I need to do my hour on the bike, I need to do my strength training, I need to do my mobility, I need to do blah 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 blah, all this list goes on into all the areas of well-being, it's going to be super fragile. Like, you need to
Mm-hmm.
simplifying it, whilst that is a process of maybe acceptance of going, that vision of what I want to be and what I want to do maybe has to be compromised slightly, because life is not just one thread, is it? There's many different threads.
I mean, we talked about this. Was it our last episode of that idea of the letting go of the version of myself that was last doing workouts pre kids or whatever it was, 90 minutes plus the 2 hours plus the just let that go and accept of what you are going to do now.
Hmm.
And there's also that fragility piece that you spoke about. That's like that's like our nervous systems, right? And we're all busy people. We have our job, which is pretty busy and can be, I'm not going to use the word stressful. That's a choice, but can be a lot. Calls and client and payments and this and that, right? And then we have our family and they all need feeding and the thing needs picking up and the car needs servicing and the house, da da da. And then I've got to fit in this like 90-minute beastie workout. Poof, what's in the
Mm.
tank to even like approach that workout?
Yeah.
So there's things you can't drop. Feeding the family, sustaining, the family, bringing the income in. Those things now, then you can tweak those, but those are your base. Like that's priority.
Hmm.
We are fathers here. We're not like single dudes who can get up at 4 a.m. to do that stuff anymore. So what has your nervous system got space for? You can definitely walk. You can definitely change your food because you're eating anyway.
Yeah.
You can definitely go to bed on time with a nice routine, no phones, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely do those things,
So let's,
right? Or am
well,
I being
no,
assumptive?
100%.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. So I think to make this practical as possible, if we break the categories down to sort of exercise, the way that you eat, your nutrition, and like your sleep recovery. Um, so each of those components, we can go through them, and
Hmm.
like, let's just talk about what is actually worth caring about,
Yeah.
and what is
From the
actually
beginning, as
from
in
the
we're like day zero.
yeah, day
Yeah.
zero.
Cool. Yeah.
And there's
Nice.
a me and Joe talk about this hierarchy. You've got your base, your
Mm.
basic needs, which would be the equivalent of the things that are really important,
Yeah.
and then these intricacies at the
Yeah.
top. So for me, with the training, assuming that we're talking about, I guess we're talking about strength training
Yeah.
because that's
That's what we're
our
doing.
thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, mobility is a thing as well. Number one, as we always say, is do something,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely essential. If you're overcomplicating it, planning, over planning, trying to get something perfect together, and it's stopping you actually doing something at all,
Yeah.
nothing's going to change. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on in your head is not going to change anything.
Hmm.
So, number one
Yeah.
is that.
And hey, look, here's a practical one. We should do this, Jake. Here's an idea. When you join, write down for yourself, share it with us if you want to be accountable. What are you exercising this week? So you haven't joined yet. What are you doing this week? I hit the gym once and went for a bike ride. Cool. Great. Just write it down. Let's see where you're at. What are you doing now? So that this week, when you join and we have these sessions, that is a lot.
Hmm.
Be like, well, that's quite a big jump. That's okay. I'll just ease in. That's fine.
Yeah.
Instead, oh, I got it. They've given me mobility every day, and I got 3, and plus I still want to do my running and my bike ride. Bro, that's a massive jump. Like, note where you are. Write it down. And I know we talk a bit about onboarding, but for yourself, listener, put that on your wall and be like, this is my normal movement. I'm doing this many steps, whatever.
Yeah.
Boom. This is going to be, that's okay.
Hmm.
Don't come in like, well, I've signed up. I better I want to beast it. That's not going to
Yeah.
last.
Do make it as easy as possible to actually
Yeah,
do it.
and just because we say we suggest starting with 3 strength workouts in the week, be honest with yourself and go, "I've done strength for 6 months. Can I do 1?" And we might say, "Let's do 2."
Yeah.
Great.
Or do 5 15-minute ones or whatever it is,
Whatever.
right?
We
Like
like,
whatever it works.
we have a system that works. We also adapt that system to make it realistic so it works for you, right? Where, as we talk about, where everyone is different that comes in.
Mm.
There's some guy who's like really strong, but he just wants to tone up. Great, 3 times a day, 3 times a week, sweet.
Yeah,
The other person recovering from an injury, illness, I don't know, whatever, that's going to be really difficult.
absolutely.
Don't worry about it. Let's do 1. Week 1, we do 1. Week 2, we do 2. Right?
So do what it build it up. Build your
Yeah.
tolerance up so that you can actually continue to be consistent. Is that
And
what
then,
you're saying?
yeah, and in the context of this, of working with us, or even if you're not, like owning, like some ownership for yourself and going, wait a minute, what am I what am I expecting of myself? What am I doing right now? Can I do this?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
absolutely.
what I got for that piece, I think.
So when if we're doing it,
Mm.
uh, to me, the most important thing with your training after doing it, when it comes to strength training, is the concept of progressive overload. Basically, meaning that you are
Yeah.
performing more volume, resistance, like output in whatever form each time you go and do that workout. Now, that's only important if you actually want to progress, right? If you kind of just want to maintain, you can kind of just go through the motions a little bit. It's pretty easy to maintain what you've already got. If you actually want to get stronger, build muscle, get faster, fitter, whatever, you need to be knocking on the door of your current ability
Yeah.
every single time that you do it. And that would apply to progressive overload is a term used for strength training, but it can apply to anything, mobility,
Yeah.
cardio,
Walking.
like walking, like
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
If you're not knocking on the door of your current ability level,
Nice.
then you're not going to progress.
Nice.
So to me, that is and most people that's an expert in strength would agree, that is the
Yeah.
fundamental principle of getting stronger, building muscle, getting faster, fitter, more agile, more
Mm-hmm.
mobile, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be making sure that you're always doing that. That is the primary concern. And I would say, obviously, we'll get into nutrition, but if you're doing that and you have a good balanced system throughout the week, so you're covering the whole body, you're not focusing too much on one area or neglecting certain areas, and there's balance there and there's repetition, that's pretty much all you need when it comes to your strength training.
100%, man. And it doesn't need to be fancy.
No.
Did we talk about this in the podcast, or I talked about someone else? Look at people who go to prison, right? They're doing body weight,
Yeah.
and those dudes, it's kind of scary. Really more American prison. You see them come out, and you're like, whoa, they've come out way scarier. But they're basically doing body weight. Sometimes they have bench and stuff, but those dudes are just doing sit ups, like prison burpees. It's like a Navy SEAL burpee.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't need to be doing these technical lifts, handstand push-ups, like pistol squats are really hard.
Hmm.
Air squats, you will get ripped doing air squats, push-ups, and sit-ups.
Yeah, for
Pieces.
sure. And
So like, I guess with this progressive overload, it's going. Yeah, there's a mental thing about, oh, I'm moving up a level in exercise. Like I can now do a full pull-up. That's awesome. We definitely encourage that, and just do the thing. I guess is what I'm getting. Don't worry about again this idea of being I'm in a calisthenics program. I've got to do handstand push-ups. I've got to do single leg pistols. I've got to do one arm push-ups. Okay,
yeah,
that's is you might be that guy. Cool, but you don't need to.
no, you don't. And it's
That's
just a step in the journey.
yeah.
Like you can get there eventually, but you need to be consistent and
Yeah,
you need to use the principle of progressive overload to get there in the first place. And that's a
there you go.
slow
And then one day you'll just do it, and you'll be like,
process.
oh
Yeah,
shit,
exactly.
I could do these.
I think the biggest mistake that people make in the realm of training when it comes to the noise and the overcomplication,
Yeah,
I think a lot of that's trickled down from like the bodybuilding world, like Men's Health magazines, all that
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing. I
yeah.
mean, that magazine changes all the time, right? It's
Every issue is different
every
advice.
year, yeah. But back in the day, like from like
Mm.
especially like my era when I was like coming up into this world, it's, do 5 different exercises for your
Yeah,
chest,
yeah.
like all these different angles to hit these different parts of the
Yeah, yeah,
chest,
yeah.
like ice loads of 3 different things for your biceps, 10 different things for your triceps, like so much random volume. Whereas you can, if you're a professional bodybuilder, like fair
Right.
dues, right? It's
Yeah.
your job
Epic.
and you want to make every single percent perfect. But for most people, you can get incredible results like literally just working one movement pattern. So like a push up would be like a horizontal
Yeah.
pushing movement, right? A pull up would be a vertical pulling movement. One
Bro,
movement pattern
yeah.
a couple of times a week repeated is enough volume for that particular muscle for most people.
And maybe this is controversial, but I'm like looking at, like, if you aren't a professional bodybuilder, is bodybuilding a practical? Maybe this is a can of we're opening here. Is that a good way to live, to train your body to be?
Um, I think like anything, right? Or everything that the most efficient and effective techniques trickle down from the elite,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then they're diluted to be more
Into accessible.
practical
Yeah.
for the general person. So I would say, if you want to get your body in really good shape and you want to do it as fast as possible and as
Mm,
effectively as possible,
mm.
you look to those people for
Okay.
some of the methods that they're
Yeah.
using, right?
Sure.
They are obviously, there's the line of like,
Yeah.
this is healthy and sustainable.
Yeah.
They've gone past that and they understand that this actually isn't, then it's not healthy anymore.
Yeah.
Same as an Olympic athlete,
Yeah.
right? They're not
Yeah.
health.
Yeah.
They're healthy in a way, but
Sure.
they're also damaging
It's
the body
limited
in order to
time.
get
Yeah.
that better
Yeah.
performance in whatever way.
Yeah.
So the general principles that they're using, which might be like eating,
Mm-hmm.
like being aware of the macronutrients and the
Mm-hmm.
calories in their food so that they
Mm-hmm.
can hit the right targets for the goals that they want to
Yeah.
achieve, progressive overload, and the principles of like hypertrophy of building muscle. Like we can learn a lot from that,
Sure. Yeah.
but you don't have to get lost in the details of it.
Yes.
You
That's
just need to know basically, am I working a certain muscle group or a certain type of movement
right.
a couple of times a week? Is there enough volume there, like 3 to 4 sets? Am I pushing myself to improve progressive overload
There we go.
each workout?
Yeah.
That is literally all you need, and you will get great results. Will that remain exciting for you for the rest of your life? Possibly not.
Yeah.
But that's not really, this
Yeah.
isn't a conversation
No.
about it being like fun all the time.
No.
This is a conversation about what's actually important to get the results
Right.
that you want.
And I'd argue that, with all of this, it's like we've talked about before. When you have the news on or something, it's all noise, man. Choose the thing that you want to do. We're doing vibrant. We're doing our vibrant life program. Do that. Just unfollow all the other fitness people, anyone that's doing it, because you're going to be comparing. Unfollow the professional Cali guy that's doing flags and one-armed handstands. Like, okay, let's go. Or if you can't discipline yourself to go, that's not me. I'm here.
Mhm.
That's gonna make you compare. That's gonna potentially flow you. Now, it's good to have goals. It's good to have aspirational figures, and arguably that's why they sign up to our program. They see
Mhm.
you and go, "Wow, yeah." But also, yeah, someone's going to tell you something else. Oh,
Yeah.
I was following this guy. He said I shouldn't be doing these. I should be doing that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now you're going to lose energy and focus on what you were doing,
Yeah.
which is something.
I love that
And now
point,
you're
man.
paused. You're
Yeah.
like, should I go left or right? He said that, but
Yeah. That is such an important point, man. I'm so
yeah,
glad you brought that to the table because it's true. If you're, and let's be honest, like nowadays, most of this is coming from social media. Probably
yeah,
back in our day, it was more like
mental health.
magazines
Yeah,
vibes,
yeah.
but now it's more social media. And if you're following the guy that does kettlebells, the traditional bodybuilder, the power lifter, the calisthenics guy,
Mm.
the kind of bodyweight dude,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
else, and then you're following the keto guy, the vegan guy,
Hmm.
the
Carnivore only guy.
carnivore,
Yeah.
like the whatever it is,
Mm.
you are gonna get messages from every single direction. You're gonna be told stuff that's completely polarized every single day, and you're not gonna know what the hell to do. And that is why I wanted to do this talk today, because
Yeah.
I think it's so important to understand that most of that stuff that you're hearing is not that fundamental base level of the pyramid.
Right.
It's all this intricacies at the
Yeah,
top.
yeah. People trying to find their niche to sell something, or that they, whatever it is,
Yeah,
right?
man. And you've
But
got to remember, this is this is marketing.
Yeah.
These people aren't posting,
Yeah.
myself included. I'm not posting on social media for the fun of it, right? This is
Yeah.
my
It's a
business. This is
business.
my livelihood.
Yeah.
And the messages that I'm sharing, they're true, but there's a lot of true angles. And there's also a lot of people that use hooky,
Mm.
like maybe slightly false stuff to actually get attention.
Yeah.
Like that's out there.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It goes like, and I appreciate your honesty, man, because that's what it is. It's real, right? This isn't, yeah, be easier to not have to post all the time, but this is
Yeah.
the business, right?
Yeah.
But like the piece I like to frame that with all this stuff. You know, when your laptop, you got your computer and you've got a ton of tabs open. You got your social thing, and then you got your life, then you got the business one, and you left Netflix open, plus Word is open and Spotify is running. Your laptop goes, close down. Like that's what's happening in our brains all the time.
If we've got all
Even
that
if I don't
information.
think I don't care about that kettlebell guy.
Mhm.
It's gone in somehow. It's in there to like get out. And also the news feed came in, and also someone told me I should be only having juice fasts,
Yeah.
and I shouldn't have coffee after lunch. It's all there.
Yeah.
Plus life, plus pay the bills, plus get to work on time.
It's you mentioned
Whoa.
the links to like business earlier, right? There's another. I always love to link it to business because
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of our clients like really resonate
They
with that.
get that.
Yeah, they get it.
Yeah.
I'm guilty with it with business. Oh, like I'm
Yeah.
following 10 people that are
Right.
specialists in content strategy,
Yeah.
and they're all telling me a different thing. If I don't just commit to a path,
Right.
then and I'm hearing all this noise,
No.
10 different strategies mixed together is not going to work. It's probably if it doesn't just stop you taking action in the first place, it's just going to create something super messy, and you're constantly going to be
Yeah.
like doubting yourself
Yeah.
and work thinking like, is this the right thing? So what you said before, like committing to something, whatever it is so important.
Yeah, man.
It might be wrong for you, like that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like it might not be right for you.
Yeah.
But I would also say that most stuff that you see online will be fundamentally rooted in some of the basics that we're talking about today, because it wouldn't work if it wasn't.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we
Right.
move on to
Mm.
like the diet stuff, fundamentally, if we look at like keto, vegan, carnivore, Mediterranean, paleo, like the most popular diets,
Yeah.
all of those, apart from if it fits your macros, which is basically like eat whatever you want so long as it hits your targets. Other than that, all of those have something very, very important in common, and that is that they're all focused on eating real food most of the time,
Yeah.
whole foods.
Yeah.
And
Core
if you're gonna
principle.
if you're gonna lose weight, they're focused on an energy deficit. If you
No
don't,
one's saying eat more Haribo and get some processed ham.
apart from if it
Nobody.
fits your macros,
Apart from if it-
some of those.
True.
But that's a different,
Yeah.
slightly
Oh,
different.
yeah.
But they all have that fundamental principle. So I always get this. There's this face on Facebook. This like keto cooking group always comes up, and these people that they're going nuts over these recipes. Oh, I just cooked this crazy bread using only eggs and like a kilogram of butter. It's got like 10,000 calories in it, and for some reason, so much obsession into that rule that they've lost sight of actually what's actually going on here. I'm making these like frankenfoods that are not even that are ridiculously calorific just because it doesn't have a carb in
Those
it.
are two great words, frankenfoods and calorific. Those are great
Yeah.
words.
And just because it doesn't have a carb in it,
Yeah.
it's like you've lost, the sight has been lost of like what is actually the core principle of a ketogenic diet, right? Yes, okay, you don't eat carbs, but it's built on a foundation of eating like high
Real
nutrient
food.
density foods.
Yeah.
Right?
I was thinking about this, man. There's a lot of talk about how people used to be healthier, right, in the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these talks. Oh, is it, the chemicals in food? Is it all the medicines we all take and vaccines? Is it they're spraying? There's all these things that you could buy into.
Yeah.
But if you look back at certainly the way my parents were raised and how they raised me, meat and two veg.
Yeah, man.
And it was kind of boring if you think about it. It was either that and lamb and a potato, or it was steak and carrot, or right. It was really simple. Eggs for breakfast with bacon or with a sausage or not, right? Sandwich for lunch with a ham and a salad and a sauce in it, right?
Yeah.
That's it. And then and I remember like as I got to adulthood, I could cook for myself. I'm like, oh, boring. I'm gonna buy like crazy shit and start to. there was way less heart conditions back in the day. There was way less like cholesterol problems. Also, arguably, everyone was active. They were like farming or moving or carrying or lifting and
Mhm.
factory work, and they were busy. So simple, simple, simple. And I think back, and I think to what we eat now, and we're like, oh wait, that's kind of what we're doing. It doesn't look quite as boring as maybe Mum used to make. God bless Mum. But it is. That's it,
Yeah.
right?
I think a simple principle to follow, if you were to follow like one sentence that could inform your whole nutrition, is would my, let's go, great great
Yeah.
grandma have had access to this food?
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is yes, like the chances are it's like probably pretty okay for you.
But let's be clear on that. That could be they didn't have access to it because we weren't importing it from somewhere. That's okay. Let's say like hummus. Hummus is okay for
Yeah,
you. Probably wouldn't have got it in North Yorkshire,
yeah,
right?
assuming that great great grandma was a woman, a worldly lady,
Yeah,
and
okay,
like
and she could go. Yeah, there we go. So some stipulations around great grandma. She was
yeah,
traveling a lot. Yeah,
but she didn't have access to future technology.
she didn't have fake duck,
Yeah,
vegan duck,
yeah,
or Beyond
or
Meat.
Haribo. Yeah,
Or what is that? What and you know I was vegan for 6-7 years. And I was so stoked when Beyond Meat came out, and I could get this burger that tasted like meat. And then now I'm like, what is that made of? I
mm,
don't even know how to pronounce those things. That shouldn't be going in our body. If you look at the packet of your food that you buy, if you don't know what those words mean, don't put it in your body.
yeah.
That's a good
And that's
rule.
another thing. Most of these diets are about. They're not about. Diet culture has stopped focusing on what we should be eating and actually has this obsession with what should be omitted. Veganism, don't eat
Mm,
meat. If it hasn't
mm,
got meat in it, you're healthy. It's
mm.
not true.
Yeah, yeah,
Whether meat's healthy or not, like another
yeah, yeah.
conversation.
But omitting
But
is not
just omitting something does not make a diet healthy. Keto is not healthy just because you don't eat a carb. Like
right,
it's crazy.
right. Right. Yeah. Just removing something. What are you replacing it with?
Yeah,
And talking about mindset-y stuff, if you remove scrolling on your phone, because you do that for an hour before bed, what are you going to remove it? Cool. Now you're going to lie in bed going, what are you going to do
or watch
instead?
more TV.
Oh, you
It's
watch
like
more TV.
yeah,
Or I'll eat chocolate. I don't know, do something else that's probably not healthy. I'm going to read 2 chapters of my book. I'm going to do breath work. I'm going to do some
mm,
yoga. Something, just removing it. uh, Quit smoking. Amazing. Definitely do that, everyone. But what are you going to do in those times when you want to do something, or that you're social? Like, what is that? Get a clicker. I don't know. Go for a rut.
yeah,
Omitting. This is a beautiful point that
mm,
crosses all of our anything in life. What if you remove something that leaves a gap? What are you filling it with?
yeah,
And you better
exactly,
have thought about it before you remove it,
exactly.
right? Yeah, and that's kind of going back to the point of like when you get overwhelmed, like all these things are just going to cut them out. Or what am I going to put back in my
Yeah.
space?
And that's why I think with the nutrition, especially, it's like just have some real fundamental principles that you can just live by.
Mm,
Doesn't have to be complicated.
mm,
I would say for me, focus on real foods. Be aware of like your intake in the sense of you don't need to count every calorie and track everything, but just being aware that you're not like deficit low on you on one of those, particularly protein. I think for the modern person is the tricky one.
yeah.
And then the other one for me is I've completely forgotten what it was.
Well, I'll say there definitely. I would say track for a bit, for a week or two, see where you're at.
Get some awareness.
Get some awareness, because I never tracked. I thought it was healthy. I've said this before. Started, I was like, oh, need more protein. Shit. Now I know.
Yeah,
And every now and again, you do this too. Sometimes you're like, I'm just going to see where I'm at this week. Oh, got to adjust because
yeah,
we
yeah,
change. I'm a bit heavier now. Put on some muscle. Need to up that. It wasn't when I started a year ago, right?
yeah.
So awareness and listening, like that was the. Have you got your point?
It might have been listening, but it's maybe not the right frame, same
Okay,
frame. Shall I go for
go
it?
for it, man.
The point was every single person is different and be aware of what foods work for you.
Yeah.
Just because you have the book of 100 healthiest foods in the world and broccoli is in there, if broccoli makes you digest in nuts and breaks you out in like psoriasis,
Don't
then
eat broccoli.
don't just eat
Yeah,
broccoli
yeah,
because a
yeah.
book said it's
There
good.
you go,
So
bro.
having some within that broad spectrum of like eating real food, there's going to be foods that work for you and foods that don't. And don't let someone else tell you
There you are,
if that's
man.
true or not, right?
And that is the key. When we were saying earlier about you could follow in business, you could follow which strategy guy you're going to follow, which content person, which finance system. Like we are so used to outsourcing everything. Someone tell me what to do. What's the best way? Help me, somebody. Bank, tell me what to do. Government, tell me what to do. But mum, tell me what to do. What do you want to do? What feels good? And like honestly, like you'll sometimes notice me when we're chatting, Jake. I'll like close my eyes because I'm like trying to go. What does I actually want to? What do I feel that needs to be said? Not what I think should be said or what I heard someone else say. It's like coming back to what feels good to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've done all my. I watched the vegan film. I've read my keto book, and all right, got all the information. Like, take a minute. Don't just eat, and then until you've gone, this feels right for me.
Mm,
I want to do. I'm going to be the kettlebell guy. Cool. Do
yeah,
kettlebelling. Brilliant. Oh, it's not working. Come back.
yeah.
Oh,
And that's the thing about all those different approaches: bodyweight, like traditional weightlifting, like kettlebells, whatever. Those fundamental principles are the same as well.
mm-hmm,
Progressive overload,
mm-hmm.
actually do it, be consistent, have a balanced approach.
Yeah.
Again, all the noise doesn't really matter. If you want to get into that and you feel you have the capacity to handle more information,
Right.
then by all means step into that.
Yeah.
You know, when you've become more experienced in something and it's become more normalized for you and you're more of closer to being an expert from versus a novice, your ability to actually handle information is much, much higher,
There you
right?
go.
So like if you're suddenly going, oh, I want to start doing like drop sets in my training, or I want to like periodize my training. So I'm doing strength for a month and then hypertrophy and then endurance or whatever, right? That stuff does not matter if you're in those early days. If you're advanced, like you can bring that in if you want. You definitely don't need to, but your ability to actually handle that information, the capacity is higher because you've already built the habit of like doing it and doing the fundamentals first.
Your nervous system can handle it.
Yeah.
Here's a new thing. Right. Can I handle this? Yeah. Because I can bosh out my strength workouts without thinking about it. Good. Now you're ready. Like sometimes the guy's like, oh, I need to up the thing. And I'm like, why? Because I should. I've been at it for 2 months. I need to improve. What for?
Yeah.
Like, where's that coming from? What improving what?
And I something I've noticed before with clients is, oh, Jake, can we move up this level in this exercise? And then I'll look at their reps and they've just been on the same reps, like 10 reps, 3 sets of 10 for a month. Why haven't you pushed the reps up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bet you could do
I don't
11.
really know. Okay, cool. Well, there's a massive opportunity staring you right in the face. Like you don't need to add more complexity. You just need to do the simple thing that is going to get you the results.
Bro, I mean that's big, and we touched on it before. Like that's the old system of training, and particularly gym training. 5 sets of 10 reps, 4 sets of 8 reps. That was how I learned to do movement. I remember when I first started, it doesn't show reps. How many push-ups should I do? Quickly, all right, yeah, of course, off we go. And there's a few folks stuck there. Don't move forward until you're. We say like around 15 consistent. I was like 20. Like, don't move it up. Now and again, I'll throw something in there just to make it interesting. So our brain's like, "Ooh, how do I do that?" That's fun, but not in that first month, I'd argue.
No.
Unless you're like already pretty.
One variable, just
one.
increase.
The whole workout. Let's just throw in a pistol squat and see how you go. Oh, down to 2 reps. Bring it back because you're gonna feel shit doing 2 reps of everything into it's a balance thing, man.
So I think we've done some good stuff on the training, good on the nutrition. Let's move into sleep and recovery, which is probably the most complicated one because with that, we're bringing in all the biohacks, all the crazy stuff that people are trying at the moment.
Yes.
So the first thing that I wanted to say on sleep and recovery is using red light therapy, using blue blocking glasses, doing cold plunge, doing sauna.
White noise machines.
If you're not just eating good food and doing some training, and like that stuff's just it's pointless.
Yeah.
Is it pointless? Maybe that's a bit aggressive. It's not pointless, but you're kind of you've got
again.
you're focusing on stuff that's so much higher up the pyramid of impact.
Well, here's the thing, bro. And as you say it, I'm like, yeah. And you know what you should do, and it's free, and we can do it. We're all doing it anyway. Is some breathing. Like all the red light and this and that. That's external again. fix me red light machine, help me blue light glasses, support me ice tank, switch off the white noise machine, or breathe consciously for a little bit, with deep breaths in, with do some breathwork stuff. Like that's in us, and we forget. We're like, help someone else. Oh, you just breathe better.
Mm.
Ask for some instruction on how to breathe better. You can do that for free, cost nothing.
Yeah.
Do that.
Why? And I would actually throw supplements into that category as well. Why,
as a noise,
as a gadget or gizmo?
Yeah, agree.
So why do you think? And I've been guilty of it as well. Why do you think that people look for these like gadgets and gizmos to bring in, even if their fundamental,
really easy,
basic things aren't brought in?
Quick fix, dopamine hit. Quick, fix me now. I'll buy the white noise machine. I'll sleep. I don't want to do the hard work, which is adjusting my diet, which is adjusting my routine, which is switching off early, whatever it is, turn the TV off, whatever the things are.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
But
quick fix. That's why.
I agree. I do agree. But let's say, put yourself in my shoes, which you can be in your own shoes if you want.
I'll be in my shoes for now.
Right. So you train regularly throughout the week. You generally eat great food. Like you work on your sleep. I know with a baby, not so easy, but you prioritize your sleep. You do self work. You do your breath work. You do your journaling. Like you're doing all the good stuff, the fundamental stuff. Then you find yourself on Amazon. And you're like, these red light machines look interesting. Or these blue blocking glasses look interesting.
Hit, man.
Or this it's a cold plunge for home. Like, what are you trying to? Because I've done that loads of times.
Yeah.
Like, what am I actually trying to find from that?
We're looking for a dopamine hit of like a new thing. Oh, I'm going to get that. Oh, this is cool. I'm going to spend some time fiddling around with that and then telling everyone I've got it because I'm optimizing myself and I'm the optimized guy and I've tweaked everything and I'm there. We're just looking for a hit. We're just looking for that's it. We're looking for a dopamine hit. And we don't want to do the hard work because within that routine that we've got, we're living pretty good, health, all the things you said, there'll be bits in there. I find myself scrolling sometimes. Maybe I've eaten a snack a bit late. I didn't talk about the thing that's been worrying me or journal it or call that person or write my to-do list. So I'm not thinking, I didn't write the report for that thing. There are bits that I am in control of that will help me sleep better.
That are all free as well.
And then they're all free. And the experiment of that is I haven't been sleeping good. I touched on it this morning. Hey, I'm feeling a bit, just haven't been sleeping so great this week for nothing crazy. But last night before last, I just went up and I breathed, and I just did some really deep breathing, and I just remember waking up at some point and it was still playing, and just turned it off and slept. And it was like a conscious thing to go. What I have been doing is reading, and I've been reading some pretty heavy books of learning and deep work for coaching myself to be a better coach. That's probably not the best time to read it actually, because I'm thinking analyzing how I'm going to apply this to that client that's got that thing. So I just went, don't do that now. Breathe. And it worked. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, there's other, man, all of the things that you said, there is now clearly science showing that there's benefits for those things. Ice baths.
Yeah. We're not doubting the benefits here. No. We're just saying, why do we, as humans, get lost in these intricate details without sorting out the foundations first? Let's say you're building a house, right?
Yeah.
We're already thinking... We're not thinking about, let's make sure we lay some good foundations and build it, insulate it properly. Yeah, we're thinking about the sofa. That's a great metaphor, isn't it, for this situation?
Yeah, totally, man.
And that's valid because you're probably not the one building it.
Sure.
But when it comes to this, why are we thinking about that sofa or that lamp versus when we haven't even like got the foundations down.
What's the best pipes I can use for the water to be,
Yeah.
Well, there's also it's really sexy. All the things you mentioned there are sold to us with sexy people in a sexy way, that they're this incredible human being, this jack dude, and he's ice bathing and he looks like that, and look at his woman, whoa, and he's got these cool blue glasses on. I want to be that guy. Again, but I want to be him, I want to be her, I want to be them. You're like,
I
oh, she's ice bathing 3 times a day. Whoa, look at her body. She didn't get it from ice bathing. Like, she
yeah,
did it hard work.
yeah,
And
exactly.
this
From doing
there
the boring stuff
there it is, man. Everybody wants the result. They don't want to know the work it took to get there,
and the time.
and the time and the commitment and the
Yeah,
sacrifice,
I
because
get
it's not fun.
most people that you see on Instagram that are in amazing shape, they'll probably talk about, oh, I only do this, or I do this specific thing that's like so intricate. They will, or I'm going to go for 100%. Got that way by doing the boring fundamental stuff that we've talked about today in
Yeah.
some form or another,
Yep.
over time,
Mhm.
very consistently, repetitively, over and over and over and over and over again for a certain number of years.
And if you were to ask them one question, it'd be like, how do you keep going through the days that you didn't want to do it? Because there is no secret button, but that gold is the gold. You just got to do it.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get more jacked? Do more strength workouts.
Yeah. It's not like,
That's it.
I haven't been doing my incline bench press, and
Yeah.
that's why I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
No.
No. Yeah.
Oh, it's because I've been eating like 10 grams extra carbs a day. No.
Yeah. Totally, man.
Or because broccoli is actually bad for me now.
Yeah.
Or broccoli is actually good for me now and I haven't been eating my broccoli. No, it's none of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a distraction. It's a massive distraction. It's a distraction from action. There we go.
There you go. It's a new strap fight. I saw this thing in Bali. Maybe I talked to you about this, Jake. Is it called like the something chamber? It's for like high up to. It's all a bit social media, but the point of this place is, and this is why I'm talking about it. It's for men, and you have to apply to get in, and you stay there for, I think it's a minimum of a month. And there's no TVs and stuff. I don't think they encourage no phone use apart from work. And there's a gyms there, there's ice, there's sauna, there's really good cooking, like solid, amazing, nutritious food, and they're out in the forest hill land of Bali. And everyone is doing the same thing. You've chosen to go there. You've chosen to commit to movement and working out and eating good. And some of them are working, but so what my point is, it is simple. It's like eat good, movement, and they really encourage rest and lights out and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe there's booze there. There's no women. It's not a distraction to go out, and like you're there to do this thing, and everyone else is doing it with you. So it's coming back to like when you've got these 3 things in place, simple things like eating well, moving, getting your sleep good. Who's going to keep you accountable if it is? Because we all struggle. No one is doing it on their own. The lone wolf, it's bullshit. Like, don't listen to that stuff. That talk about other stories out there, don't listen to that one. We need people. And who is going to be in your circle here and going, hold you accountable? Yeah. I went off on the Bali thing. I don't know why that came up for me.
Because what they're doing is probably pretty simple.
Yeah.
They're not, like, who knows what they're talking about, and I'm sure there's a lot of jargon on some of the talks they do, but no one's going from that going, oh, it's because we ate papaya once a week.
Right.
That's why we got to this great result.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And
so what I want...
And actually, just that was my point. You're not walking in there, haven't moved for ages, you're eating McDonald's 3 times a week. Okay, I'm picking on McDonald's. You're going in there already like at a level that you know that you need to move, and this is this heightening and tweaking. So again, that might be a bit extreme, but these are habits. These are habits they form to be in this space that you can eat, sleep, move well, right?
And with touching on to some of those, the noise, the one thing I wanted to say was, with the supplements, I've fallen into a habit of, in the past, of like stacking a load of supplements, thinking I need them. I would say, from my experience, I feel 0% different having that 10 different supplements a day to having 0 supplements a day.
Same.
Like, absolutely 0 difference.
Same.
Would my blood work show up differently? Possibly.
Yeah.
I do have my blood work done, and it all seems like fine, other than some like genetic stuff that wouldn't be affected by supplements anyway. Well, obviously, long term, I'll never know. Will taking those 10 supplements let me live an extra 10 years? I don't know. We don't know that.
Yeah.
But in terms of like day-to-day trade-off and the fact that it was probably costing me like
Yeah.
£150 a month, it,
Mm. Well,
it's not important. If I'm then going and eating a takeaway every night or like skipping my training, it's like that.
well, arguably,
It's not
talking
necessary.
talking supplements and all this stuff, because it does come up. Hey, if you're eating good, you don't need supplements. If you're
Possibly.
getting sunshine, possibly. If you're getting sunshine, like that's big. If you live in the northern hemisphere and it's winter and we don't see the sun for bloody weeks. Sometimes vitamin D supplement,
Mm.
pretty good idea.
Yeah,
Vitamin C, if you're not, but you could eat more
and
oranges,
that's
right?
that's the almost what we said at the beginning, like the listening to your body and
There you go.
understanding your individual circumstances.
Yeah.
Just as like you might not be able to digest gluten,
Yeah.
that's a circumstance that
Yeah.
you personalize to yourself. You might live in a country where the sun is only out for 3 hours a day. Vitamin D is a
Yeah.
good choice for you. So beyond those like fundamental things, the intricacies are actually things that are very, very personal to you. And you following keto, vegan, training a different way, like whatever, like it's not necessarily going to solve them because they are,
Yeah.
even though they're very specific, in a sense, they are also very generic as well.
Right, and man, it goes back to our first point, which is overcomplicating it. If I in the morning I've got to think I've got to take my K2 and my B and my D and my magnesium, and I need
Lemon
to
water.
rub some, all of the things, right? Take all of them though, and then at lunchtime I'm going to secco, and then I better do the thing. I end up going, oh god, there's too many, and that's
Stressful.
happened in our house. We've got a drawer of supplements that we've used for a minute. My wife's had when she's pregnant or postpartum, and they're just half empty because we're just like, well, let's just eat good.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling it, I'm going to go, what if I've had too much coffee this week? Stop the coffee and have a couple more steaks because I'm feeling whatever, right? We can fix most of our things by addressing what's going into our body and not removing.
Mm.
If we remove what we're replacing, right? So that's that. Yeah, I'm not a nutritionist. I am not a expert on supplements. I
Yeah.
just know my body.
And if you are someone that's susceptible to all or nothing thinking, which I think most people are, at least in the early days of joining Vibrant People, and it's
Yeah.
something we work really closely with them on
Yeah.
to sort of figure out. Chances are that if you are struggling to get in shape and you've struggled lots of times, you've done the up and down thing, tried this, tried that, blah blah blah. Chances are you are an all or nothing thinker in the
Yeah.
sense of a couple of days went bad, didn't work. What's the point?
Yeah.
Self sabotage.
Yeah.
On to the next thing.
Yeah.
If you have a very complicated routine where you have to take these certain supplements, even if you do your workout and you're eating whole foods and you're going to bed on time, but you miss your supplements, that is actually setting yourself up for another opportunity for the all or nothing thinking to throw you off track.
Right on.
Because your trigger
I
doesn't
do
need
it.
to be
Oh.
something monumental. The trigger can actually be something so simple.
Right.
And usually when we bring that to our clients, like, oh, I'm fit. I missed a few days because I could only do like a 10-minute workout. And I was like, felt bad. Dude, like actually take a step back and look at it. And it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't bad at
Man,
all.
it's going to be an interesting experiment for me. I'm flying to Sri Lanka next week, so it's like a day of just getting to the airport, and another day of flying and landing. That's 2 days out, and then a third day of jet lag. I'm gonna see how I go, and I'm also allowing myself some poor food choices for travel days,
Mm-hmm.
and plain food. And then it's like, well, how do I bounce back? Just an aside. I think we're coming up to time, but I just on the supplements thing, Jake, I'd be curious to hear your take. We've talked about it. Good for the podcast. Protein shakes.
Yeah.
Give me your 5-minute kind of take on
Oh
that.
yeah, nice end. So protein shakes. First thing I would say is that there's nothing special about a protein supplement. It is just it's actually a food.
Mhm.
It's a food supplement, right? So it's directly come from a food source, which is the remnants of the cheese making process, basically. If it's whey, obviously, if it's like pea protein, hemp protein, whatever.
Mhm.
People think that the simple solution to building muscle is to start taking protein shakes. That in of itself will not make any difference at all. You need to be doing the right training, and that protein can come from anywhere. So if you're already eating enough protein, having a protein shake on top of that
Yeah.
will make 0% difference. It's just something else for your body to process. It's just extra calories. If you are deficient in your protein intake, having that protein shake will help, but it could be food as well.
Mhm.
So it might be a case of actually just eating more protein,
Yeah.
which would be recommended because
Yeah.
the food comes with all
It's
the
more nutrient.
nutrients,
Yeah.
whereas the protein's not going to come with all the nutrients. It's
Right.
not going to be as satiating,
Hmm.
and maybe your body doesn't tolerate sweeteners or
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
When you should use a supplement, in my opinion, as protein specifically, is if it solves a particular problem for you.
Right.
So that problem could be time,
Hmm.
convenience,
Travel, like,
travel,
yeah.
appetite.
Yeah.
So time might be I'm all my work days are absolutely packed. If I didn't just have a protein shake and a piece of fruit
Yeah.
at
I'm at a
lunch,
conference all day,
yeah,
and they got sandwiches at lunch.
exactly right.
So yeah.
If I didn't have that, then the alternative would be bad because I will
Yeah.
not have an opportunity to get something else. So that could be it could be
Convenient.
arguably time or convenience, or even like backup strategy, or have it in my desk just in case, right?
Hmm.
It could be convenience in the sense of I'm rushing out. I rush out every morning. I've got to get the kids ready. Easiest thing for me is to just whack some protein and a banana in a blender
Hmm.
and just like drink that whilst I'm driving to work
Hmm.
versus like making some eggs
Yeah. Yeah.
or chopping
Yeah.
up an avocado
Yeah.
or whatever. And then appetite would be someone that is maybe on the leaner side or like the skinny fat sort of side.
Hmm.
They actually struggle to eat enough.
Mm.
Maybe the problem is that they were getting most of their calories from actually junk food, so it was more calorific,
Hmm.
but the food volume was actually quite low.
Yeah.
They switch to a whole food diet, suddenly they have to eat more just to even maintain their weight, and that protein shake allows them to actually hit their protein targets without like making them feel like they're stuffing themselves with food
Nice.
all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, they are the three
That's the times.
situations,
Yeah.
but the important thing to take away is that if you are eating enough protein from food, the protein shake is going to make
There you go.
0% difference.
Small noise.
It's more noise.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. So that was our 3 pillars today.
Yeah. Training, nutrition, sleep.
Yeah. Just keep it simple, stupid. Kiss.
Yeah. Love it, man.
Beautiful. Thanks, man.